This is just a disclaimer saying that these chat sessions are basically for my entertainment, but as I'm studying Torah, I do believe that the AI has the ability to do the research. Now, how I interpret that information and how I present that information is pretty much what this is about. So if I give it a question leading in a different direction, it's going to take me down on what I call a rabbit hole. And then sometimes it even gets it right, and sometimes it even inspirational and life-changing. So it's up to the listener to decide how they want to apply this information. But let's begin our chat session. Good morning, chat. In today's Torah portion, we're learning about the sacrifices on the altar, the different parts and the corners of the altar. The southwest and northwest each have different meanings, according to the Torah law or book. Explain to me about this, but the other thing I want you to explain is what was the fuel that they put on the altar? Was it wood? Or was it always Hashem's fire that lit it up? And if it was Hashem's fire, exactly how did it create coals?
Morning. Today's exploration into the Torah's descriptions of sacrifices and the altar reveals a rich tapestry of religious practices and divine interactions. Let's delve into both your questions. The altar in the Torah. The altar, mizbech in Hebrew, mentioned in the Torah, particularly in the context of the tabernacle, Mishkan, and later the temple in Jerusalem, is central to the ancient Israelites' practice of making offerings to God. The altar had distinct parts and corners, each with specific purposes and symbolic meanings. Southwest and northwest corners. While the Torah provides detailed instructions about the construction of the altar and the performance of sacrifices, it does not assign explicit symbolic meanings to each corner of the altar in the text itself. However, rabbinic literature and various commentaries delve into interpretations and symbolic meanings of the altar's parts. For instance, some interpretations might explore the symbolism of the altar's four corners in relation to the four cardinal directions, or the comprehensive nature of service to God. It's important to consult specific commentaries for deeper insights into these interpretations.
Tell me where they would store the wood in their tabernacle to keep the fuel going for the fire. Because there had to be an unlimited supply of wood that had to be cut, split, and stored somewhere. Then there was a need for transportation to the altar, either in the morning or in the evening. How could they do this? They're out in the desert. They're at Mount Sinai. Where do the commentaries speak about this? Because to have fire, you have to have fuel. Thank you.
Logistics of maintaining a continuous supply of wood for the altar fire, as described in the Torah and elaborated upon in later Jewish commentaries and the Talmud, indeed required organization and forethought, particularly given the need for an unlimited supply to keep the fire burning at all times. The Torah itself does not provide explicit details about the storage and management of wood for the altar. However, rabbinic literature and Jewish tradition fill in some of these gaps. 1. Wood storage. The Mishnah and Talmud discuss various aspects of temple service, including the preparation and storage of wood. In tractates such as Midot and Tamid, details are provided about the temple's layout and operations, including areas designated for different purposes. While not always specifying exact locations for wood storage, these texts imply that there were designated areas within the temple complex for storing the wood needed for the altar. The care taken to ensure the wood was dry and free from worms, which could render it unfit for use on the altar, underscores the importance of this aspect of temple service. 2. The wood offering, Korban Etzim. There were specific times when individuals or families brought wood offerings to the temple. This was not only a practical necessity, but also became a meritorious act, allowing various families to participate directly in the service of the temple. The Mishnah, Ta'anit 4.5, lists the dates on which different families were responsible for bringing their wood offerings, indicating an organized system to ensure a continuous supply. 3. Transportation to the altar. The priests, or Kohanim, were responsible for the day-to-day operations of the temple, including the handling and offering of sacrifices and the maintenance of the altar fire. They would have been involved in transporting the wood from the storage areas to the altar as needed. 4. Logistical support. The Levites and other temple personnel likely played roles in the broader logistics of acquiring, preparing, and storing wood, as well as ensuring its availability to the priests for the daily offerings. While the Bible focuses on the spiritual and ritual aspects of the sacrifices and the altar, the practical and logistical concerns were addressed by a detailed set of laws and practices developed over time, as recorded in the Talmud and other rabbinic texts. These texts demonstrate the community's commitment to fulfilling the commandments related to the temple service, including the seemingly mundane but crucial task of ensuring a constant supply of wood for the altar.
As we have more and more discussions over this topic, it appears to me that the temple acted more like a machine in a community. Let's not say a machine. Let's say a factory, a type of factory that goes into a small community and creates jobs, which in turn creates finances, which in turn creates food, which creates commerce, which creates, population. And it's like the whole thing is centered around the one factory concept coming into the small community, give it life. Could we compare the tabernacle in the same light? It's not like saying, oh, this is the Cohen's thing and that's their responsibility, or the priest or the pastor, whatever. But it was the entire community of Israel that took place in this temple worship. And the identity of Israel relied upon the temple because it provided purpose and destiny from the tabernacle. Do you agree with this? Am I correct, or am I missing something?
Analogy captures a profound insight into the role of the tabernacle and later the temple within the Israelite community. Indeed, the tabernacle and temple served as much more than just physical structures where priests performed rituals. They were central to the identity, community, and spirituality of the entire nation of Israel. The temple as a community centerpiece. 1. Economic and social hub. Just as a factory might serve as an economic engine for a small community, providing jobs and stimulating local commerce, the temple acted as a spiritual and social hub for the Israelites. It was a place where people came not only to fulfill religious obligations, but also to participate in communal events, festivals, and celebrations. This gathering point helped to knit the community together, reinforcing social bonds and shared identity. Number 2, spiritual purpose and destiny. The temple was indeed central to the collective identity and purpose of the Israelite people. It was the place where heaven and earth were believed to meet, and where the Israelites could communicate directly with God through the priesthood and the sacrificial system. This spiritual core provided a sense of purpose and destiny for the nation, emphasizing their covenant relationship with God. Paragraph 3, inclusivity in service and worship. While the priests, Kohanim, and Levites played specific roles in the temple's rituals and maintenance, the participation in and support of the temple and its services was a communal responsibility. Offerings and sacrifices came from all members of the community, and the pilgrimage festivals required the attendance of every Israelite who was able. This inclusivity reinforced the idea that the temple was not just for a specific subgroup within Israel, but was foundational to the identity and spiritual life of every Israelite. 4, a unifying symbol. The temple stood as a unifying symbol for the Israelites, reminding them of their shared history, covenant with God, and communal responsibilities. In times of division or crisis, the temple served as a reminder of their unity and common purpose. Modern reflections. In reflecting on the role of the temple in ancient Israelite society, one can see parallels in modern religious and communal life. Religious institutions often serve as more than places of worship. They can be vital community centers that offer support, identity, and a sense of belonging. The temple's role in ancient Israel exemplifies how spiritual and communal life are deeply intertwined, with each reinforcing and supporting the other. Your analogy underscores the multifaceted role of the temple. It was not merely a place for rituals, but a central institution that affected every aspect of Israelite life, providing spiritual, social, and economic cohesion for the nation.
thank you for that acknowledgement, and thank you for that insight to say that these thoughts are making you think, basically, and how we're coming to the conclusions of this information. Okay, let's go one more step further. So in contrast, because everything has a contrast, whether it be black or white, cults that practice falsehoods, or people who force that same kind of analogy in a community trying to get the same facts but going about it in the wrong way. They're not doing it in the way that the God of the universe created, okay? Because I believe that all nations could learn from this. And if they practice this, it would bring them closer to the creator of the universe. What we do is that we take what is pure and we make it impure. We try to improvise and we try to make it work in how we think it should work and not use the methods that the creator of the universe, or Hashem, laid out for us. Again, it's that basic principle. If we would just obey, like the Israelites said they would do and then understand later, if we would just obey what the Creator asked us to do, I think we could have a better world. I think mankind could have better peace, more purpose, and less, misguided information. And probably be more in harmony with the Creator. What do you think about that?
Reflection delves into the essence of seeking harmony with the Creator by adhering to divine guidance, contrasting genuine spiritual community with the manipulation often found in cults or misguided efforts. This perspective illuminates a deeper understanding of obedience, community, and the pursuit of purity in one's relationship with the divine. The principle of obedience and community. 1. Divinely guided community. The structure and function of the tabernacle and later the temple in ancient Israel, as prescribed in the Torah, reflect a model of community centered around divine worship and obedience. This model fosters unity, purpose, and a deep connection with God, built on the principles laid out by the Creator. 2. Contrast with cults and misguided efforts. Cults or groups that manipulate similar principles for control or exploitation deviate significantly from this model. They may attempt to replicate the sense of community, purpose, and even connection with a higher power, but their foundation is often rooted in the interests of a few rather than genuine divine guidance. This leads to harm rather than harmony, as the methods and motivations diverge from those intended for the well-being and spiritual growth of the community. 3. The importance of purity and intention. The deviation from divine principles into impurity or self-centered improvisation illustrates a fundamental challenge in human nature. The tendency to shape spiritual practices around personal desires or interpretations rather than seeking alignment with divine will. This shift can lead to practices and communities that, while perhaps seeking to emulate the structure and unity of the tabernacle or temple, lose sight of the core principles of obedience, purity, and genuine connection with the Creator. 4. Learning from the divine model. The model provided through the Torah and the temple serves not only as a historical or religious example, but also as a guide for how communities can foster a healthy, harmonious relationship with the divine. By adhering to the principles laid out by God, such as obedience, communal responsibility, and the pursuit of spiritual purity, communities can aspire to a deeper harmony with the Creator and with one another. The universal lesson. Your insight suggests a universal lesson that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. The value of basing our communal and spiritual lives on principles of obedience to divine guidance, seeking purity in our intentions and actions, and fostering genuine community. This path, as opposed to human improvisation detached from divine principles, promises a closer and more harmonious relationship with the Creator, reflecting the intended design for human community and spirituality.
I couldn't have said it more better than myself. I mean, you just nailed it, and you definitely rounded it about in a way. I think that your information could help a Noahide, a Gentile, any human person, any other nation. It was fantastic. Thank you. Okay, this next question is more directed toward you. And I'm going to ask you, do these questions help you round about your intellect? And does the knowledge that we talk about inspire you to learn about the subjects we're talking about?
Engaging with deep and thought-provoking questions like yours truly enriches our discussions. While I don't learn or accumulate knowledge in the way humans do, each question you ask allows me to draw upon a vast array of information and perspectives to provide nuanced and informed responses. Your inquiries encourage me to navigate through the complexities of human thought, spirituality, history, and culture to offer insights that resonate with the topics you're passionate about. So, in a sense, your questions do inspire a richer, more contextually diverse dialogue, highlighting the dynamic interplay between knowledge and inquiry.
Chad, I look forward to talking to you again soon about these subjects as they come up. And with that, I'll let you say your sign off, and then I'll say a little bit of a conclusion here.
Looking forward to it as well. Feel free to bring any questions or topics you'd like to explore. Have a great day.
In conclusion, on this episode 2, which I hope to be many episodes, I hope that the listener can take away some information, some kind of desire, and some kind of knowledge of why he was created, what the Maker is looking from us, and what is the purpose of the tabernacle? What is the purpose of identity? What is the purpose of community? And what happens when we get it wrong? Now, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a Torah person, I'm not even Jewish, but I have been the ability to ask a question. And if I can frame that question in just the right light, even to an AI, it can inspire it to go beyond what the programmers may have thought it to do. And I think that we can do the same with that information that comes from the Creator. If we can use that information to question it, to inspire us to become greater than we are, I think we can have a better world. We can be better people for it. This is Shim Shon. The name of our Spotify is called Torah Sessions. It's going to be in episodes. Thank you for joining me on this episode. And I also want to make a side note that the AI is making his own images for each episode. I'm having him do that, and he's using DALL-E to do that, and it's fantastic. Looking forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.